guess I should at least say, Brook,
man,
thank you for coming, man.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Been battling these storms.
Yeah,
We're supposed to get another one next
No way.
Tuesday.
Again?
I think we're supposed to get
That's
more snow
crazy.
Saturday night,
That's
and then
crazy.
another one next Tuesday.
I thought it was over finally, man. That's crazy.
March.
That's too much.
March,
Yeah.
the month of Aries. You never fucking know.
Like
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Let me
Okay.
snag. You snag that head right there. My brother did that head actually.
Hey,
You
nice.
get Ash in that.
Okay.
So that's
perfect.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But,
I thought it was over by now, man. Someone said that the other day, but I thought they were joking. You know, I thought spring was here already. Like, God, that's messed up.
Nah, but then when it comes, it's gonna come like heavy and quick, and I guess it's technically good because everything will get green like way quicker.
Yeah, definitely. People will come out, you know.
Yeah.
Energy will come back. Yeah, man.
So right before we started this, we were talking about the differences of Allston and Boston, right, and like chivalry.
Yeah.
So that was one of the craziest things that I noticed, and then it really started making me thinking. Like, now, granted, I love Malden, I love Boston, but it just really made me think. Like, if you snag someone from Austin who is used to every single morning being like, you know, good morning, looking at you, saying hello, like treating strangers as if they were like regular friends, and then you put them in Boston, then what does that ultimately do to the individual? You know, because that's going to make someone, the moment they get to like their fifth person who they went to go and say good morning to, and then they're going to get cold too. But there is something to say about the loyalty aspect in Boston, which I don't think exists in many other places now. Like, Boston's one of the few places where I feel like the people that live in Boston have all, like, there's still a huge amount that all lived in Boston growing up, rather than some of the other cities where, like, a lot of people will move to that place, and then it's not really a representation of that place, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's true. Boston's really loyal. Boston's really, what's the word? Like, proud, you know? Proud to be from Boston. Not only from Boston, I guess you're right. Like, if you show them love, they will have a little wall at first, but they will show love back, you know, if you show that you're a true person, you know.
Even if they got a straight face and like mad me mug type of face, you know.
No, Boston actually has a lot of love. And when you see crews and friends and whatever, anything, even passersby, they're usually pretty loyal to each other. If you see someone enough, you're going to say hi, you're going to show love, you know. So
for sure.
It's a beautiful place in its own way, you know.
So I work at the Wilbur. I do security and operations at the Wilbur. Actually, what I want, my dream, what I'd like, and I'll throw it out into the universe right now, because what I would ultimately like to happen is to convince the owner of the Wilbur to let me do this podcast with the talent that goes through there. There's no reason why they shouldn't be. And if he doesn't want it to happen, or that doesn't work out, then I'm just going to go to every other venue that hasn't realized yet that, people are tuning in to a podcast all the time.
100%.
And why, like, you would immediately couple a late night TV type of lineup, right? Maybe you don't have the ones that are blowing up right then and there, but it's just as powerful to have the people that are on the come up. See, I've always been about the people that are on the come up, because when I wanted to first start doing this, people would be like, "Oh, who are you gonna have on the podcast? You know, how are you gonna get some people that are really high up?" Like, even when I wanted to do ciphers, they'd be like,
"That's what most people would do. Probably is go for
the ones that want money."
Yeah. That's right.
And that already got a pull and shit like that. But to me, it's more about and this is why. So let me just take time out to say mad respect on what you guys are doing, because that's exactly what. One day I'd like to open up a place called Hiatus, which is like a YMCA, ran like a gym, but for the mind. So whether, Brooke shows up and takes one of 30 seats to be in not a Zumba class, but like a painting course with a specific teacher, and over the next 2 months on Wednesdays and Thursdays, you're going to have specific curriculum.
That's dope, yeah.
And you guys and I want a recording studio. Y'all got a recording studio. Yeah. So you've been pumping out shit official.
Yeah, man, yeah. We've been trying like the past 2 years. The studio's been open 2.5 years now, so yeah. At first, it was just a retail store, clothing store.
Yeah.
We used to do little ciphers there, but it was pretty much clothing, you know. So the last 2 years has really brought a whole other energy. You see how many artists and just people that want to express things that are in Boston. It's crazy. Like, and talented people too, you know. Like, whether it's singing, rapping, whatever it is, you know. You see so many talented people. So.
And a lot of people say Boston don't like, on the hip hop look. I guess the best metaphor for it would be how, like, Guru from Gang Starr left Boston and went to New York City because he was just like, and
say
even
there's no scene, but
they say there's not, but there definitely is. I think it's more about
huge scene,
like showing out for each other.
Exactly.
I think that's what a lot of people keep telling me in Boston in regards to like the hip hop and stuff is that people, once they're doing their own thing, then they only want to be sitting in their own seat doing their own thing rather than showing up for each other.
Their own thing,
But that's the quickest way to success, just like the podcast, just like everything else, which would just be like, it's a simple math problem. If you get one to stick around from the show of 50, and then you do another show, and then 3 stick around, and next thing you know, it's a perpetual math problem, and it just works out.
Yeah, man.
So when did the store, and for everybody listening, it's, Mass Apparel, when did y'all actually open up? Were you there from the very start?
No, so not from the very start. From the very start, it was Mass Apparel Concept Store. I guess they had a website at first. These are our friends. So they were doing well. Within a year or so, year and a half, they opened up the storefront, which we're still at today, 383 Cambridge Street. And it's just been a steady like growth process. You know, the first 2 years, 2 people that are just out of school trying to figure out this entrepreneur lifestyle, they don't know 100%.
And who are those 2 people?
Nick and Lucas. Those are the originators, you know.
And they're the ones that I saw. Maybe it was Pro U, but there was an interview.
Yeah. You've probably seen them, definitely. They've been doing their thing YouTube-wise. Always trying to put out content, you know. So we just joined on pretty much the last 2.5 years on the music side and print shop side. So we all got in together. We were outsourcing all our work, you know.
And gotta cut out the middleman.
Why not? You know?
Anyone who hustles knows you gotta re-up before you run out and cut out the middleman.
So that was the move, pretty much. You understand it?
Yeah, for sure.
And ever since then, it's been a learning process, a growth process. But then once you do kind of set up your own path, it's almost not exponential, but you really see it go once you really put love into it and work. And it takes days. Like, we don't have to take days off. You know, that's the only tough part. You know, like, literally, if anything happens, there's nobody to blame but yourself. So
for sure,
that's the toughest thing.
We brought this up on one of the, I think it was actually the last podcast. My boy Jared Frenny came on, and I was talking about my experience in corporate America, and I was just like, yo, to me, the moment you say I'm a manager or I'm a boss, like, it's your fault, right? Like, if something fucks up, it doesn't matter how it fucks up. If you're a manager or a boss, it's on you, right? It's on you. And I think that's a lesson that if you ever gonna run anything and you haven't already learned that lesson, well, that's kind of a rude awakening.
Yeah, that's why it's beautiful that you have that experience. A lot of people don't. They just want to be bosses from just scratch, you know?
Yeah.
And then they don't realize the pressure that comes with that. So the fact that you know what it's like working for someone, which I do too. Several jobs, you know? But then you realize, you know? So
and they say pressure is a privilege. You ever heard that line before?
Never. That's
pressure is a privilege.
Okay.
And then when I start taking that and I start thinking of all the times that I had pressure in my life, it was very true. Whether that's pressure like you about to go up and perform, or that's pressure like you got to manage a bunch of people. Like, it's a privilege to have that pressure.
Okay. I got you. Yeah, definitely. It is.
And the whole, like, being scared part. So, like, you got to, like, I'll tell you right now, I am terrified as shit at, like, I'm big on the whole, it's okay to be scared. It's not okay to be afraid, right? Afraid is what keeps you from walking forward.
Yeah, you need those nerves or else you're not doing something right. Yeah,
exactly.
You need to feel that,
So that, I left, like, over a 6-figure a year job, right? I'm making $13 an hour at the Wilbur. Right? So right now I'm gonna freelance like a motherfucker doing anything I can to make money.
100%, bro.
But just like on the way in here, I'm like, I'm a dog that needs to be walked, and sitting at a desk all day.
I feel you.
That was not.
Yeah. I couldn't do that either.
That's not my repertoire.
I feel you.
Not at all.
That's one of the things for me too. I did all of that kind of stuff, you know, like I used to study engineering, and then I did business for a while, and I actually worked in the economic field, like in Ethiopia, at the ECA, you know, for a little while, and it just didn't click, man. It didn't click like doing my own thing. I'm always thinking too much. I'm always on to the next thing type thing, you know, so.
Me too. So and I think that's an important, very, very important lesson to learn about yourself, right? I guess the easiest way to talk about that lesson is by saying, what's your creative process, right? So, for example, a barber's creative process would mean that they have a job that they work on, and it's a short-term job, like a 30 to an hour job, and they could be extremely detailed and perfectionist-like, but then it's churn and it's the next one, and you need to understand your own attention span even in order to cope with your own creative process, if you will. 100%. Because you'll ruin yourself when you get into a job and realize that your tasks are every 5 months and it's a repetitive day-to-day bullshit that you don't like, you know? Good job on your second job 10 months in, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not going to work out.
Yeah, no, you definitely have to lock into what your strengths are and build on that, you know? Like, you can't get stuck or let anybody box you in. Yeah, definitely.
When I would hire interns, so I did the 91.1 WMUA at UMass Amherst, and so it was a college radio show, and I hired 7 interns that worked 5 to 15 hours a week. They didn't get paid, nor did they get credit. But the hiring process, I think, was kind of beautiful because I just didn't give a fuck, and I had no one tell me what to do. And even at my last corporate job, I was the boss of my department, right? So no one told me how to interview. Now, granted, some of these things probably ain't like HR type things, but they're things that I think would be really dope to weave into the podcast, into like why I asked and like how. Like, for example, to get the interns to the radio show in the first place, I flyer dropped mad. I had like 26 cats come back. And the question process on the way in was, who are your 3 of your favorite artists and why? And 3 of your favorite musicians and why. But I said artist is anyone who creates. You could be a businessman and create. You could do whatever. Now, I'm in sales, so when I asked that question, I asked because I want to see how you can articulate something that you already love and know a lot about. Because I can't judge you on what you know about this company coming on the way in. Yeah. Like, we all know in the first place you should say you don't know everything, because I did business intelligence software, right? So I would ask them that and see, like, now sell me on that artist, sell me on that. Like, so I wouldn't say that, but I'd be like, you know, like basically get them to pitch it.
Yeah, but that's crazy that you even knew to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you're
without being taught to, you know. So
thank you. No, you immediately get people who vibe with you, though.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, you knew what you were looking for. You know,
exactly.
You knew exactly what to look for. That's already boss mentality. You know?
Yeah. So, plus, if someone could tell me, so what's a movie that you love that you think could change the world, if everyone saw it and could understand it?
Could change the world. That's a tough one.
Well, I think a lot of things could change the world, like holding a door for somebody. That, you know, be simple the change things, you want to see.
Simple things. Yeah. I feel you. Change the world, I don't know, man. But
you ever seen Cloud Atlas?
No. It's like that complicated movie with the.
It is complicated. It's mad complicated.
Tom Hanks.
Yep.
Yeah, I never watched the full thing, but
it's complicated. It gets complicated.
It goes crazy.
But there's a few parts in that.
Okay.
But
speaking of him, actually, I was just about to say my favorite movie of all time is Castaway. Some of the messages in that, I don't know about change the world, but it gave me like this survival mentality. Like, if you can make it through that, like, you can make it through anything, you know. So
that's true.
You know the one where he was stuck on the island.
Yeah. So. And he so what the fuck was the beach ball's name?
Willie? No. What was it again?
Fuck.
Damn, how could I forget this? No way.
He's screaming at it. What's he screaming?
Yeah. It's like the name of the ball too.
Have you ever seen the movie Revolver?
I forgot. Revolver, no.
No, it's by Guy Ritchie.
Oh yeah,
Jason
I've seen
Statham.
all Guy Ritchie stuff.
Word. All right, so either way, just like Castaway, I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, but what maybe you were getting to is like that movie has a lot to do with how you're gonna talk to yourself and on your day to day in your own mind.
Yeah, definitely.
So for me, I've been telling people 2018 is all about, you know, that whole. First true step to enlightenment is understanding that you're not the voice in your head, you're the one that listens to it. So for me, it's all about now conquering that conversation with the one in my head. So we were joking on the first episode saying how, you know, if I was in the Truman Show, then I'd be in the shower like, shut the fuck up. Sometimes you just, like, if that was another person right there. And I feel like Tom Hanks, in a lot of ways, made that other person, like, into the ball.
Yeah. Even subconsciously, you know, I never think about this till people ask me about stuff like this, but definitely stuff like that plays a big role in your subconscious. You know, how you talk to yourself, like you said.
I mean, just the way you talk to other people, if you know that has an effect on them, then imagine the way you talk to yourself.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I think it's not until people get to this point where they really realize when you say things like, love yourself or else nobody will, that it makes sense, because you got to understand first what we're talking about here is that voice in your head and how you couple that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the most important one. That intuition, you'll trust it, believe in it,
yeah.
listen to it,
And people don't really seem, they're not too fleek, if you will. They're not too fleek on intuition nowadays. It's like, well, first of all, the entire world right now, from what you see, at least in America, right? What the social culture is like and what it's telling you to be like, a lot of that has zero to do with the intuition aspect. Where in anything on your, well, at least, so you're from Ethiopia, I'm in America and came up in the school. I mean, there should be whole sections each year about sharpening your intuition. Because haven't you realized by now that it's not fake, that you do pull things towards you, that manifestation 100%. Is real?
Yeah. 100%. That's interesting. I know people are starting to implement like meditation in schools. Yeah. That's very interesting.
Mindfulness.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like the cognitive. And how, like, it's not supposed to be easy. So I meditate every day. When I hit the gym, I'll meditate in the sauna, or I'll try. And I only do 10 minutes worth. It's not that I don't want to do more, but I know that if I hold myself to more daily, then I'm more likely to get mad at myself that I didn't hit my goal. If I say, you do meditate for 30 minutes a day, well, if I don't hit 30 minutes a day, then I'm going to get really, and then how I talk to myself in my head is going to be bad. So I make it 10, right? 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, 10 whatever. And then at least that's something plausible. You could do that in 10 minutes, meditate, another 10.
You can keep it up too. It's not too,
And the best changes are the ones that you could implement in your life on the day-to-day. Yeah.
And that's my struggle. Like, I always knew about meditation. My parents meditate. They always send us to retreats for meditation,
Really?
So I'll do it.
In Ethiopia?
In Ethiopia. Imagine, like, sent us to the bush, to some church, and you stay there for a whole week, and you wake up at 7 a.m. every day, you run, you do stretches, whatever. Then he comes in, he, like, makes you do yoga literally from sunrise position, whatever, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, align them chakras before you meditate.
All of that. And it was powerful. But I can't ever keep it going every day. That's my struggle. I need to do that. I'll do it like once a week and then,
Yeah. Well, someone told me that it was actually like, whether you are sitting upright and you are in the proper position and you are meditating, or you're laying down and holding one of your crystals for just 10 minutes, but you're not even in no proper position, it's still a form of meditation. I don't like to argue with anyone no more when they tell me that whatever they do is a form of meditation. I'm pretty sure I fucking trust you if you're telling me it's a form of meditation. It's helping you on some level.
As long as you're doing it to help your psyche, to doing it for the benefits of meditation, then do you, like.
Yo, but you gotta tell me more about, how old were you when you went to this?
Oh man, we were kids.
And are you only child?
We were kids. No. I have like 5 brothers, 1 sister. So like a big family, And they used to send me and my little brothers out there like 3 years in a row.
How old were you?
What was it called again? I was like 15, then 16, 17.
Okay, so you were a little bit older.
A little bit, I guess. Yeah, not a child, but yeah. That kind of thing even started later in life though. Like there was no option like that for us in Ethiopia. Nothing like that. No spiritual retreats and stuff like that. It came around recently,
Yeah.
And so we used to go, and ran by an Ethiopian too, not like by a foreigner who comes in and that's fine too. But
true.
It's crazy to see an Ethiopian
it's
who
kind of
knows.
Like what you're doing with Mass Apparel.
Yeah. It's interesting, man. But
it is.
Yeah.
Community, art.
Yeah. We always try to incorporate that. That's been our values, and I guess it comes from stuff like that,
For sure.
And it was in a church. We all slept on like bunk beds, mad kids, like 30, 40 kids. From like 7 years old though to like our age. We were like the oldest ones in the crowd, And it was just interesting, man. Exercise, meditation every day, and then skill building and getting to know yourself. The secret, type stuff like vision boards. They used to make us sit
Universal
there and
law
make
of
vision
attraction.
boards.
Yeah.
Interesting, bro. So that all shaped my mind,
That's huge. Like and vision boards are huge. I'm like I want to fucking throw it right there. But like that's to the vision board look. Okay, listen, not everybody. First of all, I'm a perfectionist, so I'm gonna need to have some, of the Kombucha making me burp like a motherfucker.
No
But I'm gonna need to have some nice magazines with prints that I already like, with colors and stuff, in order to make a vision board. Not everybody has that time. But what I do think we could do, even you and I right now, right, is I was thinking, wouldn't it be a great, even if it's not a full Tourage episode, like a conversation aspect with someone, but to do like a manifest your week thing, and right, and it's supposed to be on things that you want to grow with, and it has nothing more to do with either stuff that you personally want to accomplish this week or things that you want to get better, and how maybe we're being a little bit silly to think that if just I say it, right, well, then that conversation in my head for the rest of the week needs to go according to plan. But we already know that you vibe off other people, right? So what if we do a manifest your week thing and throw it out into the world? Maybe this only gets 100 views, but I'm gonna have a team of interns in the summer pushing this shit. But what's something that you think that you want over your next week?
Manifest for this next week.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's interesting.
See now you get to be held accountable to the world, which is another reason why it's like a life hack, right? And then it makes you want to accomplish it harder throughout your week. Other people counting on me.
So this week, pretty much, we have a bunch of like shirt orders. So I'm just gonna tell you facts, So that's what I'm thinking about. It's like we gotta get those done.
Like printing them too.
For like schools. Like we're working with not Suffolk, LaSalle University, LaSalle College. About to start working with Suffolk, and we're doing like bigger orders, So gotta get those done. And I'm also in album mode right now. So we put out 2 singles, and I'm working on the third one, like
for
visuals,
you?
all of that. Yeah, for me.
And what kind of music?
Reggae, dancehall, everything, blues. We do a bunch of stuff.
Word. Oh, you do some? Okay.
Yeah.
I love blues.
Yeah, nice.
I love
me
my
too,
blues.
bro. That's my life.
When that guitar starts crying the right way, it's a different type of nirvana.
It's unbelievable. So I'm just trying to get that next single done. We already mastered it. I just gotta get the photo shoot done and stuff like that. That's my week. That I'll get everything done on time, and that's it.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, just be accountable to my own goals, because a lot of times with artists, you just drop stuff. So the last project I dropped was like a year and a half ago, And people really love the stuff. They ask me all the time, but you have to be there. You have to be in the space. You have to be dropping stuff. You have to content.
Once you start, you can't stop.
You can't stop. So that's what I've been doing the past month. We've been going straight, sticking the dates, all that. So
good. Well, you could throw this YouTube wherever y'all like, right? I don't really give a shit. Like, as far as permission goes, take it, put your logo on. I could even have Ashton do up the logo and put the logo on it too for Mass Apparel. I'm definitely
gonna help push this too. This is very professional. Like, there's a bunch of people that have started doing podcasts now in Boston. No shade, because I don't know too many of them personally. But I haven't seen a setup like this, so you're doing your thing.
Thank you. Well, it's just the living room and then the right stuff.
Yeah, the right,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I went through a sabbatical mode after, so I went one corporate America gig, sabbatical mode, another corporate America gig, and in the sabbatical mode, one of the things that I did was just get all the right stuff. And then I got stuff like these can transition to stage mics, so I don't need to just have them sitting here. If there's a performance that happens, there's stage mics too, and then that's the one that catches all the audio like that. Like that's the dynamic, and these are cardio, or is it the other way around?
That's a condenser mic.
Yep.
I think these ones are dynamic mics.
These are dynamic. Yeah. Okay, word. Yeah. See, I'm not even good with none of that.
Yeah. No, but that's like a studio mic too. So if you
that's a good mic for sure. Oh, we got. I got extra
setup.
Foam if you need any foam.
JBLs, I see you. Man.
Yeah. We got it. We got it set up good, because listen, like, I just want people to see that the conversation is real, and then before people can even see and make a decision on if the conversation is real, this gotta be real.
Exactly.
The sound gotta be real. The video
100%.
gotta be real.
People try to fake the funk, man, but like from the jump, it has to be professional. So the whole thing can be,
Exactly. Social proof.
You can't polish a turd or whatever they say.
So social proof is, if there's a new restaurant, maybe we were talking about this when we first met tonight, but I'm saying social proof is, if you drive past a new restaurant on its first day and it's got a line out the fucking door, you drive past on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, you're on your daily drive, and no matter what, there's a line out the door. You don't need to know what kind of food they serve, whether or not you even like that, you want to go to that restaurant regardless. So if you can show The vibe is heavy, right? So one of the things that I would do to make social proof a part of my radio show was I was big on the interns and we had people in other countries and far around the United States that would shout out the show. And a lot of people think I got Jizza to shout out the show, which was like, yo, that was, and my boy just touched us up when he did this, but like, I'm a big Wu-Tang fan, right? All these things. But all you need to do to get an artist, first of all, is ask. Because you ain't never going to. Even ask. People don't ask. And then, voice memo on your phone. And then if you have the right stuff, which is just Audacity or Logic or something like that, you could just plug it in. But to anyone who ever watched the show, or, I mean, in this case, it was listening to the show, no matter what, you hear a song, you hear another song, you like the music, and then you hear someone from Miami shout out. Then someone in China shouts out. Then someone in LA shouts out. Then someone in New York shouts out. And you're listening to a radio show that is a college radio show in Amherst, Massachusetts, right? This is, and then I would record it, throw it on SoundCloud, and then we would push the SoundCloud link all over Facebook.
And that's early. You were doing that a while back, right? You said?
Yeah, that was 2012.
Yeah.
And I had gotten kicked out of school for 2.5 years. So I was about to do it right before I kicked out.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, that shit.
Yeah, 2012, I don't think podcasts or like even stuff like that. SoundCloud wasn't even like popping.
Well, and then I got fucked, because so the show ended towards the end of 2013. By 2014, SoundCloud, I got an email. Oh, you've been tagged for copyright. Now, SoundCloud is everyone knows SoundCloud, but I guarantee you that they don't have a workforce that's huge. I mean, it's just like when you think of Esurance, they're gonna have customer service, but there's not as many people working at Esurance as there is any other insurance company, because they've automated the shit out of a certain chunk. SoundCloud, you ain't getting nobody on the phone. So I got an email to tell you got tagged for copyright. Right?
Like of the music you put out? Or?
Because think about it. I was, even though I edited all the hip hop I put out, but I was playing so on the hip hop, everything from Wu-Tang, Tribe Called Quest.
I got you.
So I would record that. Now, I guess like to them, they don't know that I'm not doing it for money, that it's part of a radio or nothing like that. All they know is copyright flag 1.
It gets flagged,
A month and a half later, I got copyright flag 2. And I knew on flag 2 that 3 would come real quick. So I had to screenshot everything I ever did. And sure enough, like the following morning at like 3 o'clock in the morning, I got this strike 3 and everything was deleted.
Damn.
Now I got everything, but we had like 500 to 1,000 plays per episode, and this was a college.
Said you saved a bunch of them already, like.
Oh, I got them all.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
But where am I gonna put them back up?
Exactly.
And that's what sucks about Nicky Wah. He's ill with making the beats.
Yeah.
But Nicky Wah just goes. So that's my roommate. That's my boy's younger brother. Who's like a brother to me. I was telling you.
Nice. Okay.
Right. He goes out. He'll do like Mass Appeal, and they do rhythm roulette.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's his life.
Yeah,
that's just what he do. Yeah,
okay,
and he kills it.
I got you.
He kills it. So if we ever do a cipher and like a circle cipher, I'd love to have him be one of the people who's like playing his shit, because it's dope. It's Premier's tasting, Dilla tasting hip hop. Like that's his.
But he's chopping it up, right?
Oh yeah, making it into a beat.
The record, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think you'd be fine. Are you asking about copyright? Would you be able to do that? Like take footage of it? Or?
Well, he can't sell the beats.
Yo, sell the beats, yeah. Sell the beats, yeah. I thought you meant like the footage of that night or whatever.
No,
like,
to me that's his
That's his thing though. Okay.
No. But like what you're saying, to me, doing the cipher, that's one of the few ways that he can get his art out.
Stuff out. Yeah,
because doesn't that suck? That's my brother right there. Yeah. He did that one, and that is Nick in the picture. So that's my boy Nicky Wah.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But for Al is my brother. He ain't getting taxed on every time he uses pink or purple or orange. You know what I'm saying? But like, I just think copyright shit with music is bullshit. I think it started with greed and money when the record companies got going, and now that's fucking bullshit. And I'm with J. Cole on this. You put the art out into the world, let someone else do whatever they want to create. Like, why are you fucking up the creative process?
You know what's crazy about that? I just heard the other day that Jay-Z made one of like a historic deal with his sample.
Yeah.
For It's a Hard Knock. Like I think it's that one.
Yo, and Nipsey Hussle just used that too. Right? Yeah, yo, so fucking ill song, amazing, right? Amazing. Oh my God.
Video and everything.
I bought that.
You know when Jay-Z copyrighted that, when he bought the copyright, whatever, paid for the original sample, he paid for it outright, right? But he said legally, you have to let any hip hop artist that comes after me, you have to clear for them as well.
Yo,
they have to pay, but it has to be cleared for them. Imagine nobody's ever done that.
Yo, that's a 444 type of move.
That was back in the 90s. That was back in the 90s.
You know what I'm saying?
So now Nipsey got to do it. He just had to pay up front, like to Rock Nation or whatever. But
so wait, did Jay clear it out for every other artist, or did he get the rights now to charge it?
He got the rights to it. Yeah, so they charge
because they probably never thought that sampling would be a thing like that.
Yeah,
so when Jay's making that deal, they go, "Well, ain't no one else gonna come and say this to me."
That is like a 444 mentality. That's
right?
Crazy that you
right?
said that. Yeah.
Yo, fucking touch to 444 because that is some big boy shit.
The best album of last year. That's what I think.
I mean, he's looking after us like a father. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, listen, like I love Cassidy, right? But how old are you? And at what point in time, as a man, is it gonna start fucking with you that the only thing you telling people is buying drugs, hustling, killing people? I mean, that's you know what I'm saying?
A lot of the music, the music nowadays, it's crazy. So yeah, I feel you. Jay-Z did it with that one for me, man. I don't even listen to rap like that anymore, just because of this. Everybody's talking about the same thing, other than like Kendrick or whatever. But this album, man, yo, people need to listen to it, man.
Yeah,
big boy music, like you said, man.
Oh, it really is.
For people really trying to become bosses or doing anything legit or whatever, this is the blueprint, right?
And here's what and now you guys rent the store space. Okay, so how'd you get to gut it, but you rent it?
Got it. What do you mean?
Didn't I was looking at some of the media articles and it looked like y'all renovated the shit out of it,
we
right?
We broke down some of the walls, stuff like that.
So is that like a deal that you had with the owner?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so what you were doing was buying the Basquiat after year one. And year two, that shit worth $2 million. Year three, that shit worth $8 million. I can't wait to give this shit to my children. You know what I'm saying? But that is the investment level big boy 444 shit that he's trying to put you up on, right?
Real. And not only that, we actually, the fact that you brought up the landlord, we got lucky to find a landlord that saw the vision as well. You don't really get people like that.
No.
They'll shut you down. It's like, pay the money and get out of here, you know?
Yeah.
This guy really, like, he let us renovate, like you said. Nobody really do that unless you either buy the place or whatever. You know? So it's been really good. Yeah, man.
I mean, he only saw it as a benefit to himself. Not to mention Allston Realty. I mean, that's like everything else near or around Boston. That shit's going up.
Yeah, it is.
But you're investing in you. You're investing in the services that you give. I mean, that says a lot into every little deal you get then on after. Yeah,
man. And that's after a good year of not seeing the return. Even to this day, you're not seeing the full return, you know, but it will get there. You know, it's reaching on the books, it's getting good. It's reaching that point. But you're not gonna just be chilling. You gotta get out of that mind state where you think you're gonna start a business and then just making it rain everywhere. No, it doesn't work like that, man. You're gonna go through a few years of not seeing nothing. So
one of my mentors would say, and this comes a lot out of when you look at financial investments as well, which it kind of is, you know. But I mean, that's exactly what it is when you're really looking at it. But 5 to 7 years is a healthy investment. That's 5 to 7 years, and you think, and this was supposed to be a metaphor in regards to life. So whatever you talking about, working on your craft, you doing hip hop, you making shirts, you a painter. 5 to 7 years is what a healthy investment looks like, right? And then so just grow on that. And I think if more people, especially if you're trying to grow organically, I think if more people. Because everything's now. Everything's like, I want this to happen now. I want, like, I've been already having money from hustling, from working, right? So I should be able to be doing this and not work as hard. No, that's not how it works out. No. But 5 to 7 years, that could kind of make you go on your year 1, 2, 3, and 4, kind of like, well, I mean, I always knew this is 5 to 7 years. Yeah. So
you have to
tamper down. You know, don't get so excited.
100%.
Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah, exactly. And I've never been the type to go and blow money or anything like that either way. But it really takes reminding yourself that you're here for the long term. Kids. You know, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. We're a blip, dude. We're
exactly,
a blip. We're
man.
such a blip.
Exactly, man. And I feel like the media is portraying as if it's happening right now. These kids and whatever that are blowing up, I mean, obviously it's a money grab. The labels think they're going to make money or whatever. Yeah. But that's not how it works. Even behind the scenes, these kids or whoever it is has been working a few years.
Oh, for sure.
Working, you know what I mean? Yeah, so don't think it just happens. Like, no.
And so this is a lot of good points all rolled into one. But so how important documenting the process is. So I follow Gary V. Mm-hmm. You know Gary Vaynerchuk? Word. So he's big on the whole, like, first and foremost, no matter what kind of company you are starting in 2018, you're a media company first. Because it'll be,
that's interesting.
Even if all you want to do is make shirts, you could be you could have the best fabric, you could have the best, you could cut out your middleman, you could do everything, but you will actually be more well known and more successful faster than even if you haven't mastered it yet by showing everybody what you're doing. You know what I mean? So like showing, here's the one screen print. Okay. Oh, no, we got 6 and we're still doing it. We're doing some hip hop here. Our videos used to be just jack shit. Now we got like some real graphics on it.
Exactly.
You know, getting better by the day. And people love that. Because people love Brook, but they might not buy anything from Mass Apparel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They showing up and even telling people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. You're right.
I'm huge on the whole, all people are born innately good. I don't believe that people are born, I mean, maybe like 1 in a million is a fucking devil.
Little
demon, like you know, reincarnation of Satan or some shit. Fucking Jersey devil, some dumb shit like that. No, but otherwise, I think people are born innately good. And now that, right? And so now you got the internet blowing up spots all over the place. Watch. People need to be hypersensitive for a little bit, but we've now gotten to the point where out of all the bullshit, if you can bet, and this is why the whole Tourage and Light and Entourage, like all the things that we grab you from are from shared loves, values, characteristics, you know, interests, right? But watch now, out of all the bullshit, that if you can bet on good and you can bet on, you know, working hard and that being something that is admired because they actually worked on it and they are a good person because they actually talk to people, they don't just care about selling it. Watch, those will rise to the top.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, that's why you don't need to be fake. You don't, you know, like just come real.
It's those people nowadays, just like you said, that are going above and beyond for their viewership, fan base, whatever, just either content or actually going and touching them, like giving out free stuff or going to their schools, or, you know, it's those that are winning, you know. So
and why, and like 100%. On the schools, look, my boy Muhammad's big on this too. If you can, why wouldn't you be doing something that could help influence the schools in a positive light? Like if you have any type of popularity or even if you don't, you know, like whether you own a company or you just, why wouldn't you be on some charitable community stuff for your schools, look, right? The whole, we didn't inherit this planet from our ancestors, we borrowed it from our children, look. So shouldn't we be trying to help them out? And instead, all I hear on NPR is fucking this, that, and this being cut. Teachers ain't being paid a lot. It might be better to homeschool your kid in 2018 than it is to send them to some of these establishments. And we're in Mass, and we got better schools than a lot of other schools in the nation. You know, so
definitely. And I feel like that's how a lot of people are raised. I think it goes back to like how you were trained, how you were like, you know, conditioned to think from like a young age. Like not everybody knows what you said, that we inherited this earth only for a short time. We're supposed to leave something for our kids. It's not about you. You're like dust. You know what I mean? But to get to that mindset takes a while. Like even for me to reach this point took me until maybe I was 19, you know, 20. Even that's too long. You know, we need to be starting from birth, you know, so
that's why
it's all about education, like you said.
It is. You gotta tell, like, listen, I mean, how do you expect them to walk through stuff that you don't even know yet if you haven't at least given them the info of how to walk through what you went through? You know, so like, unfortunately,
100%.
Well, maybe fortunately too, but now we could all agree that over the course of the next 2 years, the world will change more than over the past 10 to 20. Right? The amount of innovation, change, technology, that means that when you and I become fathers, then for us teaching our children is going to be in an extremely difficult time. Even any of the advice we give them is not null and void, but it's fucking slim to none because it's way different. The social structure, the media in general. Social media is gonna get ingrained into just social.
Who knows?
Dude,
exactly. So I think that's the main point, just to get on them from early. I'm going to take away all that social media business to my kids. You know?
Fuck yeah. Give them some crayons. You don't need an iPad.
Roots, chilling outside. None of that. TV, even. I might not even put a TV in the house. So.
No, I think that's a good look. Yeah. You got to chill outside.
Yeah. 100%, man. Even to this day, I wish, our parents used to have TVs, even though they were the old school ones or whatever. But they used to tell us not to watch it, but then as a kid, immediately you're going to watch it. When they say no, you're going to do exactly that. I think the way is just to teach them the other way. Explain to them what you went through, and just like you said, so they can avoid it. A lot of people, they just say, don't do this. Like, my parents never told me why they told me not to drink or why they told me not to smoke. Probably like they smoked and they got sick, or they never told me their stories. They just said, don't do it. That made you want to go do it, so it's just maybe a different kind of training. That's it. So.
I think my mom did a pretty good job of explaining shit. My mom has been through some shit as a woman, so she's been able to tell me a lot of. My mom does a very good job at a little bit at a time, right? And that's one of the bigger lessons that I need to learn is that, and just like the whole 5 to 7 year investment thing, whatever you're trying to, everything I'm trying to do, a little bit at a time. So like she could make a house into a home and we got nothing by going to Pier 1 or someplace, looking at that painting, waiting till it goes on sale, buying one thing every 2 weeks. The house is a home in a year. Definitely. But if you think you're going to self-decorate that entire thing or redo the carpets of the whole place this year, you're going to bog yourself down. You're holding yourself to some high expectations,
I feel you. I was thinking that too, but that's very interesting. You're lucky though, but like having African parents, they don't teach you nothing, man. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to know that they've ever done anything, that they've ever partied. It's like, look, it's just a no. But even though they used to go crazy when they were young, I'm just now at 25, 24, like last year and this year, getting like little secrets and little stories like from their real life and what they went through. You're like, oh, no wonder, but I wish they told me from early,
True. But well, there's a certain level of editing that's got to go into play.
But that's like also how we Africans are just like that, like have.
But then there was no real TV. So when they were growing up, where was the TV at? There was very little TV.
In the living room, and it was a small one,
Yeah, for them.
Yeah, right? All our lives growing up.
But now kids got phones with media on them. So the goal would basically be before you so if, say you're a parent and you don't want to tell Brooke exactly what you have been through about the life lesson, maybe you think that it's better not to do that because you got your own growing to do. And also, listen, that's a child, so I don't want to tell him certain things yet. But that child now in 2018 got a phone. Got the computer and everything else. So rather than you going out on a limb and telling them the story, they're hearing all these other stories that are probably already wrong.
So it is already a different world. You're right.
You know what I mean? That's hard. Right? You can't even blame them for not thinking about it like that.
And not only that, I've seen these little kids, man, like 3 years old on the iPad already know how to work it. And so maybe it's helping them actually not smarten up, but I don't know, like, it's helping them learn, maybe. But
for sure. It definitely
certain images we might have to
100%.
Yeah.
But then we still don't even know what the fuck.
Wi-Fi
by the time and Bluetooth in the ear. I mean, listen, if it's messing up the bees, I'm willing to bet in some way it screws with us.
100%.
In some way.
That's crazy about the bees, man. God.
Not
only everything,
I'm right now. I'm smiling because I'm thinking about myself in a bee thing 20 years from now. But I've already made a promise to myself: when I have a home and I have land, I will keep bees.
That's powerful. We all got to. They're not gonna go extinct. There's no way, man. Not only that, even the wildlife, everything that's going on, like we have to really claim
no
of
way.
it,
There's a way. There's a way.
I mean, there's a way. Obviously, if we don't change it from now, though, if we change it now, we might be able to save a few things. Like, imagine if lions went extinct, man. How depressing would that be? You know what I mean? Like,
there's more lions in captivity in Texas than there is.
That's crazy.
But that'd be a shame. That'd be such a shame.
Yeah, you know, something so regal like that. Anything, elephants, anything. This air that we breathe, the trees are all, People playing games, man. We need to save this earth, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we're just two motherfuckers on a quest running into each other that are both trying to do that,
For
right?
real, definitely.
Like through music, art, through whatever, even,
Definitely.
and like through conversation. Listen, like I know that in 2018 you got mad bullshit all over the place being flooded to you social media wise, but I also know that with 5 people that go online and check the Mass Appeal page, because I know that Mass Appeal has the same type of fans and Mass Apparel, and then they just go and market it to those and fucking push it, push exactly. that. Yeah. And then you bet on the good, and then that it will come. That's real.
It will,
for
exactly.
sure.
Exactly.
But people need to hear, like, you know, if you're young and you still littering and you ain't had an influence that has told you pick that shit up off the ground, what are you doing? And maybe look at the bottom and see, does your recycling take that and recycle that? Definitely. Because like that's just, we're so wasteful.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So much waste, man. Yeah.
What was it like in Ethiopia? How old were you when you came here?
I was like 17, straight out of high school.
Right.
Yeah, and it was a culture shock, man. Complete culture shock. Yeah. Just like what we were talking about earlier, how people were cold. I'll be the one to, if I see anybody, like eye contact, I'm going to at least nod my head.
Yeah.
Acknowledge your existence, you know?
Yeah.
That messed me up for a while. The fact that I'm like, damn, nobody cares about you. You might as well just be in your own zone. Yeah. So I shut myself off. You know what I mean? I was in my own world. I didn't talk to nobody, just school.
And that's not necessarily a good thing.
It's not good either. It's not good to be like that. Then I met a few people who were like cultured or like just genuine cool people, you know, whether it's white or black, whoever they were, that opened my mind like, okay, they are cool people. It's not everybody, you know? So,
yeah.
Then it slowly opened up. My first year though was tough, you know? But yeah, just a kid. I feel like anybody moving from Africa straight here needs to take time before they come, like a break before high school and here. Don't just jump into it. That was really tough.
You're not even... They say that the brain ain't fully grown till your mid to late 20s, and that, like, you're still on some type of hormonal kick up until then, too. You know what I mean? Yeah, so if you're 17... that's why the school system's fucked up. They getting me to bet on 100 G's of loans when I was 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
Imagine I got them.
Yeah.
I went to UMass Amherst. I went to business school there. I fucking killed it there. I killed it in corporate America too. But that ain't. Now I'm old enough to realize what really matters. Everything that glitter ain't gold. Exactly. And here you go, want to shift your priorities. And listen, I didn't have someone in a role model type of community figure way to really break it down for me as I will now to the person 17, 18 about to sign in. But you need to really look at what, like, I would even hire someone that has been able to show relevant experience to the position I'm hiring to over the last 4 to 5 years over a college grad. You have people come in, they don't think they're gonna need to do work.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know,
like
man.
they don't
That's
get
a lot of the mentality. Yeah, man. So it's all about finding the right people and exactly like you said, experience. There's nothing like experience that can get you ready for certain things in life. You know what I mean? You have to fall, you have to get up, you have to do it all. Like, don't think you're too good to do anything, you know, to get to where you need to go. So
yeah. The day is your teacher.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So in Ethiopia though, you had 0 to 17 there. Like, what would you? I don't want to be cliche on like what you would say the bigger differences in life are there, but I mean, I'll be cliche with that. Like,
it's just how do I explain it? It's just when you step out on the street, it's love, man. You don't have to think about like what you think about here, getting shot or like something, you know, crazy like they see in the movies. That's all we saw. So that's all we thought America was for a while, you know. It was just hood and violence. But back home it was really free, man. We'll be in the streets, like we never like we're inside the house, period. We're with all the neighbors' kids, we're playing soccer, we're, you know what I mean, just in the streets, man. And it just teaches you, it opens up your mind, and the amount of poverty you see there is just shocking. Like that'll already change your whole worldview.
Do you think they're happier?
Huh? They are.
I think as a whole,
That's
and this is
a
a very interesting thing. I think it comes down to the more or less community that you are involved in. You know, like I think the more community, the more purpose people have, the happier they tend to be without even with less.
Yeah.
You know.
So the kids are happy. They couldn't be happier. You know what I mean? They don't see anything. What they're eating, whatever they got, but at least their stomachs are full. They're having fun. They're in the streets running around having fun. You'll see them everywhere, even with nothing, barefoot. You know what I mean? It's sad, man. But the parents, and the older you get, you see a teenager that's in that same situation. You see them start like twiddling their thumbs, start smoking, start doing drugs. You know what I mean? Start doing crazy stuff. So you really need infrastructure. My main goal is really to go back and for my people, obviously for here too, but like build like infrastructure, like huge ass music like laboratory where they can just go in and mess around, learn piano.
Yo, I'll support that goal.
You know,
100%.
so yeah,
I'm on board with that.
We're gonna build. You know,
for sure.
We're gonna build.
Yo,
so.
I need to take a picture.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do
Do your
your
thing, bro. Do your thing.
Like, I'm just gonna be too jittery.
I feel you. No worries, man. Take your time, bro.
The community look though. I mean, that's even when I say my dream would be to open up a place called Hiatus that's like a YMCA but art wise.
That you said that is so crazy because my sister just opened up not like that, but yours is a bit more in depth with that side.
Well, I'm always gonna
wellness,
I'm
you know,
yeah.
Like a wellness center where it's like healthy teas and kombucha and stuff like that, and organic food. But then also like a garden, an indoor garden, and meditation area and stuff like that. Where it's like, it's crazy how the world is starting to think like this in Ethiopia. Yeah.
So here, when you say it's crazy that the world's starting to think like that.
Yeah.
So this is something interesting that I've broken down for a few people. So I think it's called the 100 Monkeys theory, which is, all right, so there's 2 islands way back in the day, right? And no monkey has ever swam from one island to another. Okay. They're their own environments, right? On one island, the moment that one monkey finally is like, let me take this rock to open this fucking coconut or something, use it as a tool, right? Then the moment that 100 of those homies on that island start using that as a tool, around the exact same time in history will all the other monkeys on the other island. And if you look at, it's always boggled people around the world, Mayan ruins, Egypt, all these things. There's a lot of
that's powerful.
You know what I'm saying? That they're like, yo, they want to explain it with aliens, and who knows? Maybe they fucking is. But either way, they're like, how did all these civilizations?
It's that
right?
connectedness.
Exactly. And I think ideas are on that level. I think that thought pattern in general, I think that goes for humans and for animals. I think once one of us starts getting smarter, then the rest of us do. I think that's also why we all tend to be sharing the same problems in the same lifetime, you know, like
same problems, same characteristics, same trials and tribulations, you know. It's unbelievable. And the fact that he brought up the pyramid thing just shows how much deeper it goes, man. It's not just about something like, you know, good or bad, you know. It goes to like structures and how to do certain things.
Exactly. Even the mathematical train of thought of an action to do.
Action, you know.
Yeah.
It's powerful. So don't sleep on them. And just like it goes back to that intuition thing, like that your pineal gland is there for a reason. It opens up everything. Like all these foods and drinks and stuff are what's clouding it now, but back in the day it was so much more powerful, you know. So
for sure. And I think I would try to metaphorically explain this to people by talking about how much more adept like dolphins and whales must be. Like you got to figure out they have their own language, right? So and for everyone who doesn't know, intelligence in the mark of a brain is the brain size growing by accumulation. Therefore, the bigger the brain, inherently, the more smarter the specimen. So there's one dolphin that's got a bigger brain than us, but or a whale. But either way, if they're talking to each other, if orca whales in certain parts of the world are coming up to boats, remembering who specific people are, like orcas, there's never a documented case except for when you drug them up in a fucking marine land or SeaWorld. There's never and Marine Land in Canada, fuck them. Fuck all. I got my 4 ocean bracelet on because I don't see the next time I'm gonna clean 20 pounds or 1 pound of garbage out the ocean. So I gave $20 to them for this little bracelet here. But yeah, you gotta figure that if they have their own language, they must already, through the same way that we are, but maybe not as fast because there's not as many, talking to each other and over the generations, passing on. There's these motherfuckers called humans. And, you know, I think that there's probably already shit in play to keep the algorithms away that are going to translate that language. Because could you imagine what an extremely intelligent other species would end up telling humans about our histories and what we've done once
how
they
we can
start
fix it, and they don't want that. There's corporations and stuff.
But exactly. That's what I'm saying. They're going to keep that from happening. Fuck, dude.
100%. And to think, man, even on a deeper level, what if those whales are getting their kids ready for, like, just metaphorically, you know, like your uncle died from eating plastic. I'm talking about the whale talking about to his
100%,
kid about, you know, and
for sure.
Your cousins are dying, and you gotta, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're probably training their babies now to not go to feed in certain areas.
Yeah, they're like the oceanic drift to the left because of Japan dumping all that shit into the fucking ocean. You know, it's definitely happening, 100%. And those are animals. Why do you think they say, like, yo, they can smell fear? Because they're more in tune with their intuition. So could you imagine what a species like that is saying about us? You know, it's kind of embarrassing. It really is. Like, my mission would be to help change that. You know, but like,
man.
I don't know. I think we can also, unfortunately, my buddy and I were just talking about this. So I'm not sure how it is in Ethiopia, but here in America, there's a fucked up opium problem, benzodiazepine problem, Adderall problem. There's a big drug problem. And I'm not even talking about on the level of, like, doing it for fun. That's less of an issue as it is giving it to the kids. And depression and anxiety. And now there's little kids that, you know, ADD, a little bit, ADD and shit like that. Like, I don't really believe in ADD. I believe in really loves that and really doesn't love that.
And there might be some people that are a little hyper or whatever, but that's just energy. And once they find something they love, they'll do it. ADD is a complete lie, but that's a whole other.
There's this, because this dude, Shassagne Hilaire, he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and the podcast that I'm doing right now kind of mimics that. And he talks about how in the Amish community, they're talking about ADD and how it's not even really a thing. And this guy goes, yeah, you know, sometimes there's, you know, a kid that maybe is harder to control or doesn't want to read the books as much, but we send him out and he hunts and fishes, and in some ways he could become a more productive community member to this community than the people that got their heads in the books.
He can also live a fulfilled life, be happy and calm down too. He'll be tired, you know. And here's, like, learning and knowing yourself. If you know you need to move
and you don't move, and you are someone who needs to move, I describe it like a pressure cooker that has no release.
You have to listen to your body, man. No matter what.
It'll manifest in some real negative ways.
Definitely.
For sure. Definitely. Yeah. That was my biggest lesson coming out of corporate America. Was just, I was good at, so I ran a business development, like an inside sales team. I was good at all that. I always felt like I was being held back, like changes could never happen fast enough. And it wasn't even that I was impatient. It was more about, you tell people some of the changes that should be happening and there's zero acknowledgement because, or, you know, like, I don't know, there's no work. It's so shiesty.
That's
I don't even like any of that.
I do lift, like, whenever I get a chance to, you know. And I talk to certain people and that work in corporate as well, and they tell me that, like, they have the skill to do it. They do it. They present new, improved ideas of how to take the company to the next level and be a part of this new energy. But they'll shut you down.
Burn.
Just play your place.
Burned.
Or whatever.
First time burned. Yo, it was a common thing.
Man. Why are you hiring the youth then? For what?
When we would do our sales meetings, it would be a common thing. Someone new starts. They're vocal in good ways that it could change. And I'm talking, I'm talking from experience. I'd come with an idea that required no money to fix, right? These are simple implementations that we don't need to have no time or money out.
And the money is not even a thing. Like, why wouldn't, anyways.
Yeah. And then so they start, they're new to the company, they're vocal in a meeting. Nothing, vocal in a meeting, nothing, vocal in it, not even, when I say shut down, I guess a lot of people are going to hear shut down and think like someone says that's fucking stupid. And no, I'm just saying it's not really ever heard and nor taken priority to change. Everyone's putting out fires. They all got to deal with what's going on right now. They're not really looking to that long term, and then they want it all and they ask for it. But they'd be vocal, and then they'd stop. And they wouldn't be vocal about it no more. So don't you want an environment where new good ideas are always flowing in? And if you shut someone down from doing that, what the fuck about what the process is or whatever is shutting that train of thought down? We need to stop that. You know, and that's in a way what's going on in Austin and Boston. I don't even want to like front on Boston, but like the whole you shutting down the eye contact long enough to acknowledge you another human to say hello. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, like man. You could kill that.
Okay. And I feel you. So, and I don't understand why these companies would go out of their way to hire the new talent if they really don't want to listen to them, you know? Is it just literally to fill in that space for the old man that just can't do it anymore? Like, that's messed up, you know? So that's why I feel like the kids nowadays have just kind of taken things into their own. They want to be their own bosses. Someone said it right. They said like this generation, at least this time now, there's like a time for bossing up, like for bosses, because
on yourself,
like everybody's taking it on themselves. Like, forget this company, forget this connect, forget like let me do it myself. And get this popping, you know. And it's
but
beautiful.
you do also you need a team.
You do. You
look at
not by yourself.
Exactly. And you need and like the team is smart, because if you were already in a corporation and you were explaining why the team is smart, then it's because first of all you immediately cut overhead. Everything that you would have already outsourced in a specific way not only becomes cheaper, but is done out of passion, not out of you're told to do it like this. Exactly. Let them go. Find people who are good at shit that you are not, and work together.
Trust them.
And you gotta trust them.
You can focus on your own.
Yeah, that's a huge issue when it comes to learning how to manage, because with learning how to manage comes learning how to delegate. And people are not good delegators. So although you should boss up and do it yourself, you got to think, what is simple, repeatable, that I can, and timely, that I can teach someone else how to do. And this is the whole implement interns. I think interns could be a way to really spur back up the local community, because you're getting free labor.
But then also when you choose interns, make sure they're interns that are there for a reason. Not just there because they see you got something cool going on or something. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because we've had our fair share of those. We've also had our fair share of interns that just really want to learn. Anything you give them, they're just boom right there, and they grow. You know, so like that definitely involved them.
So did you? So that was one of the things that I loved doing in the hiring process, was figuring out what kind of questions and what kind of answers come could predict the people that. Sure, there's always just going to be, you could find things that naturally predict hard workers, and you can find things that naturally predict this is someone that I would want to be around on a day-to-day. So did you ever do any of that onboarding, any of the hiring or nothing?
No, not really. So my one of our partners, Nick, actually did that, but just because...
And which one's Nick? Because I saw the video. Is black or...
No, he's... He looks Asian and Italian. I think Filipino and Italian too. That's crazy.
Oh, no shit.
I swear, I think he is, bro.
Damn. I'm going to need to connect with this. I think you told me that at the night of the store, and I made that Jet Li comment like, I have to kill him so I get stronger. Yo.
I think so, but that's crazy. So, and he, again, one of the originators, so he handles that kind of side as well. Word. But also they called him, he was there at the shop, you know, and they called from a high school, and just wanted to get students in. So they will actually do that whole thing where they will choose people who are interested in the art side or clothing or music, because that's what we do, and then they'll send the other kids somewhere else, you know. So they'll send us videos already made where the kids are explaining, hey, this is my name, this is what I want to do, this is what I like to do, I can't wait to do this, as in like already with what we do. So you just put them in right there, you know.
That's efficient as fuck. And I've really thought about
but now I learned how to do it on our own from you, you know, like just ask them certain questions to find out what they're interested in. Yeah. Gauge their level of interest and excitement, you know.
And this was a powerful lesson I learned with the radio show too, because I saw hiring people that were passionate as well, but maybe didn't naturally work as hard. And then, so now how do you predict these kinds of things? And I think corporate hiring process I saw on a TED Talk or somewhere is that they will be able to predict your efficiency by within 80% accuracy of like just asking what browser do you use when you search the internet, because the people that only use Safari tend to be far less natural, not saying that they're not hardworking or whatever, but just less efficient in, if you were hiring someone that needs to do shit on the computer or that needs to do stuff with research, then a good predictor would be what browser do you use, because the Mozilla Firefox and the Chrome users and the ones that said I have several,
they know what to use.
They have more resources to find the answer already. They've set themselves up that way. You know what I mean? And then I would always ask the question, so you got 5 things to do. It's Friday afternoon, and you have 5 things that you need to get done. And you come in, and on Friday afternoon, you know these things. One of them is hard. You've never really done it before. 2 of them are pretty easy. You do all the time. You know, whatever. You know these things on Friday. You come in on Monday, tell me how you run your day. And getting people to explain that process is a great indicator on how quick they're already at. Because I'll tell you, the sharpest one, and only one I've ever interviewed, first said, well, it's Friday afternoon. So
and started from there. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Set yourselves up for success so that you don't need to worry about it on the weekend. You come in on Monday and you good to go. And that was one of the things I always wanted to hear. It never came though. So that stood out. And then prioritization. And this comes down to and you could teach someone a lot about prioritizing your time, because first of all, if you already know these things, you should do a decent job of now assigning time or it should take about this much time on each of them. Placing them the right way in your day, because you have other things in your day you need to do, maybe other people that you see that could help you with these things, right? And then knowing that all when you first show up and walking through your day. Now, when you get there on Monday, if you've already done that, you will have a far less stressful day, even if it doesn't go according to plan. Because everyone knows it's easier to go off of a task list one by one than it is to be blind with, you got to do several things, and now it's 1:30 and I haven't even done the third one yet, and what,
definitely
you get stressed out. So planning is good. It's it's a manifestation to your visualization.
100%. That comes back again to what you were saying earlier about taking things step by step and a little at a time. That's all it is. No matter what you want to cancel, you chip, break down whatever, you have to chip away at it small at a time. Like, be realistic about it,
For sure.
You'll go way further.
Because you're a human that got psychological needs and a way that your brain works. And, do you over-promise and under-deliver to yourself? No, you're supposed to.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be doing that. That's not good for your conversation in your head.
In your head, definitely, bro. Definitely.
So, since you came from Ethiopia, and you say the main homies, when did you end up meeting these cats? How did that all happen?
The Mass Apparel homies? Through school. So, Shabazz, me and him went to school together for production and music.
Word. Okay.
So we graduated together, and we're already on that mindset of building our own studio. We were just thinking of where to do it, how to do it, and going through that thought process. And he already had been working with Mass Apparel around when they first opened, because he used to print shirts for his website, and he does production. So he's been doing it for 15 years. So
gotcha.
He was printing his merch through them, dope merch, and he got to know them. Through them, Lucas, one of the original owners, his brother is also an original investor, so he'll be around, and he used to come through the house all the time with Shabazz. They just clicked, you know.
Word.
Came through, we would talk, and just built a relationship from there. Eventually, it just became like, why not build a studio at the shop? And that's it, you know.
And then
it's really that simple.
When you said build a studio, you're talking about the recording studio.
The recording studio in the back. And then as soon as we got into talks about that, we got brought up the print shop. Let's get our own print shop and start printing ourselves. Boom, we built that ourselves. Like, we ordered the parts, built it, and just got started. That's it.
I mean, that's it's a nice how you see people getting added in, and then it getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
And just like you were talking about the team, it's like everybody who's good at a certain thing does that thing. So I'm good at like whatever with socializing or with events and organization. I'm pretty good. So I do events as well as music. I graduated for production and all that, so I can do sessions as well. I record my own stuff, so I'm always working in the studio as well. That's my strength. Shabazz is music. He's the head of the studio. Anything music production anybody needs, he's done stuff for like news channel. I forgot what it was called, but like stuff
like
for
an
movies.
AV guy.
Yeah. Does all of that. So he's trying to get music on TV now. It's been working, you know. So he's doing that. Nick has been doing the clothing from the beginning, so he's still on that. And we always help out. So we all do everything though. Like if it needs to be printed, we're down there, you know. So Yeah, my boy. So shouts to Sandman Graphics Design. My boy Gardo. He's out in Westfield, Mass. He got his own print shop too, nice. A lot of the shirts that I ended up doing and stuff like that were through him. Nice, bro.
So
it's all about supporting that dude, man. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Like just the local growth. We're doing. You guys ever heard of Extravaganza? They do. It's an event at UMass. You know, like once a year. Like the whole. It's like a weed event for 20 type
man,
event.
That's crazy. I would have been there. I never heard of it.
Yo, you should come through.
Okay.
So like one of my specialties is helping artists vend. I think there's an art to vending.
Nice.
The way you bring in the crowd, the way you talk to them. And Gardo does screen printing, right? So I'll be on him all the time being like, yo, it's not about who buys your shirts that day or the prints or whatever. What is most important to Gardo, because he's a screen printer, is the reoccurring services later. So the guy who always had a logo that wanted to put it onto a shirt and then never has done it, and maybe only want 10 shirts. The cop walking by patrolling the thing that wants, We Are the Night on his squadron shirt.
Oh, so he prints it like right there?
No, he doesn't do it right there. But what I want working with him as an artist is saying, we got to get those numbers, those little what you want, and treat this like a sales process.
Definitely.
Follow up. Because them, they're buying 10 shirts at a time, 20 shirts, 50 shirts.
That's what it is.
And he's doing a lot of stuff with schools too right now.
That's what it is, exactly, man.
Yeah.
And those school things don't come about just random. You know, it'd be like, people have heard that you do good work or something, and then they come in. But when they do come in, you better deliver that job on time and with quality. Yeah. So that they'll come back, and then they do come back. You know what I mean? So that's
for sure.
It. And we basically have lasted through those beginning tough years just off repeat customers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who loved the work. Nobody else was coming, but they kept coming.
And what kind of...
That saved us, you know?
What were some of the things that they did? What are they... Because one of the things I'm helping with him now is I'm going to be going... cold calling, just doing stuff like that for getting people, whether schools, establishments, companies, to have more orders for him. I want to keep his calendar full.
Yeah, you got to.
So, like, who were those people, the reoccurring customers? What were they asking for?
Artists. Yeah. Like, we had 2 or 3 artists that would faithfully come back. Every shout out Cash, man. But
yeah, shout them out. Shout them out, for sure.
No, a bunch of them too, though. And France Lit Life. There's a few people who come and start their own business, and they just keep coming back, because they're also, they're not doing it just off love or something. We do good work. We turn around the stuff quick, good prices for them. It plays right into their budget. And they're also themselves are hustlers, so they don't just sleep on it. They go and they sell these products, come back, they need more. So it's just musicians, young people starting clothing lines. And then local businesses will just keep coming back faithfully, Word. Yeah.
And I seen in one of the, I think it was a commercial or something like that when I was going through the media on the Mass Apparel page. Like, y'all got sewing machines, you got everything,
we
right?
Do cut and sew too.
Word. Okay.
Direct to garment.
No, we're definitely gonna need to work together because, one of the things I want to do is make T-shirts in regards to like characters. I want to even do in regards to countries, and then I want to make it the whole like 1 out of 100 ever printed type of deal, and so that no matter what, it's like okay that you charge a little bit more for it. But I want to get some of the custom clothing from like India, the Philippines, stuff like that, and do country.
Smart thing to do.
Yeah, Ethiopia, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is your country got as that native garment that go to.
Fabric too.
Yeah, put it up on a t-shirt, make it go up the side just right there, just something subtle, right?
Don't give them all the sauce, you know, you gotta save that right.
Yeah, but now they gotta go out and do it, and that's one of the things Gary Vee always be saying. He goes, listen, like you know, like all these motherfuckers, guess what, you could all hear it, but even if 2 of them out of the 90 out of the 100 actually do it, you ain't gonna do it as good as me. So fuck out of here.
Right. 100%. That's true. I like that.
You know what I'm saying? Like
confidence.
Yeah. I mean, every time I took a class growing up, I took more out of that class than other people. And that was one of my mentors in the South End of Boston. He used to be my landlord. That's one of the things that he would always say to me is just like, listen, man, if you already can bet on yourself for working harder or taking more out of something, go educate yourself. Keep learning, because no matter what, whatever you grab, if you already know you and you already take more out of it, your shit's going to be better.
100%. Yeah, that's
you know what I'm saying?
Focus on you. Focus on that quality, on that consistency. That's it. Man.
So I brought this up on last podcast too. I've been saying done is better than good sometimes because like my Ma Dukes.
That's a good lesson to learn.
But now you need to decide what you got to prioritize on done is better than good. Because some things are better good than done.
It's always better quality, but then I'm just thinking because I had a friend he's amazing at what he does, but he'll be waiting for it to be the perfect thing.
I'm kind of like that in some ways,
deadlines.
Man. Yeah.
And then people will be upset. You cannot do that.
No.
So even if it's 80% there, at least better to give them on time so you don't look crazy.
100%. Yeah. And I think that is a very important lesson artists need to learn, because as artists learn how to monetize, how to make money off of their whatever, their paintings, their prints, while you learn the sales end, there are things like delegating, like done is better than good. Like you need to have a calendar that you're gonna need to get used to if you want. Listen, like not every artist was able to do it without having some accountability in their own system. You got more people pushing shit now than ever. There's a million different media outlets. If you don't plan properly and give yourself the right 5 to 7 year investment, you're gonna feel overworked and like you're not accomplishing. So you need to have a few general practices in place, because when you have those practices in place, it's like budgeting your money well. And when you budget your money well, you don't worry about rent next month or anything else. And if you do, you know you got to work towards it, but you already see a month, 2 months, several months ahead coming, you know? Yeah, they're going to learn that for sure.
Yeah, man. Good messages for the people today, you know?
Yo, for sure. Oh damn! Yeah, it's already 2:41. So yo, this shout out whatever you want. It's been a real vibe, man. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you, definitely. No, we're gonna
Thank you very much, man.
We'll come back too, man. We gotta bring Shabazz and Nick up here. You know, at least maybe in the future you gotta talk to them too.
Yeah, I like having people that come on to recommend another real motherfucker to come on.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. There's a bunch of real ones you gotta meet, man.
Okay, cool.
And, shout out Mass Apparel. Shout out Nick, Shabazz, Tiago. You know, everybody else in the city that I love. You guys know who you are. There's too many to shout out. And check out the music Giday on every site, Spotify, iTunes, whatever. Giday.
Giday, baby.
And bless up. Yeah.
Bless up. All right, good shit.
I see.